Welcome to Movie Recap, a channel dedicated to those addicted to movies. Our focus is to showcase the best recap of your favorite flick. Sit back, grab your popcorn and get ready to be amazed. The Wailing. In Gokseong, a quiet little village in South Korea's damp mountains, an inexplicable deadly sickness and an unheard-of wave of gruesome killings cause mayhem. As a result, the formerly tranquil community is shrouded in hazy but unsettling rumors of demonic activity. But not even Hyo-jin, the sole daughter of Police Sergeant Jong-gu, can break free from the silent but terrible curse. Ultimately, the girl's body is obviously infected. Serious issues surface when the society pins its suspicions on a solitary newcomer. Are evil forces in play? Is the mysterious outsider the source of all evil? Spoilers ahead. The film opens in the South Korean town of Gokseong. Policeman Jong-gu gets up early one morning and decides to look into an odd murder case. When he arrives at the crime site, the murderer is bleeding and injured. Handcuffed, he sits outside the home. Jong-gu witnesses the heinous murder of two dead bodies. He is informed by a policeman that the man who was slain was shot outside and then dragged inside the house. The murderer has rashes all over his body and appears to have been afflicted with an infectious ailment. Soon after, Jong-gu and the others head to a shed close to the home. When they notice that the area is bloody, they label it the usual murder site. There are numerous lit candles all around the place, suggesting a rite of some sort. There is an enigmatic sickness outbreak in the village. The villagers slaughter their relatives savagely while their eyes glow red from the sores it produces all over their bodies. One day, the partner of Officer Jong-gu brings word of a rumor that the disease in the hamlet was caused by an evil spirit and was hosted by a Japanese foreigner who lives in a remote house in the highlands. However, Jong-gu believes that the sickness is being caused by a certain species of deadly wild fungus. Many more people die from the virus over the course of a few days. Jong-gu is called to a burning house crime scene one evening. He is attacked by some infected individuals while conducting an investigation, but other officers save him. A woman was saw hanging from a tree the other day. Jong-gu looks into the situation. He is informed by one of the officers that the husband is a suspect. Later, when Jong-gu is having dinner with his partner, the Japanese man he was talking about earlier has attempted to molest a dead woman by the river, according to a phone conversation. The deceased woman then went insane, hitting everyone she came across while walking about in the middle of the night in her undies. She was the one who attacked Jong-gu at the burned-out house the day before, and she too had contagious rashes. It is now Jong-gu's belief that the Japanese man is somehow connected to the disease's propagation. A mysterious girl named Moo Myung keeps throwing stones at Jong-gu as he is at the scene of the hung woman's murder. She walks inside the crime scene and points out to him where the murder took place inside the home. The daughter tells him that the stranger from Japan infected the wife and that he's truly a ghost. She advises Jong-gu to be cautious around him. When he contacts his partner to go check on the girl, she abruptly vanishes. The senior officer of Jong-gu puts pressure on him and his partner to uncover some leads in the case. A local hunter reports to Jong-gu that he saw a half-naked Japanese stranger in the mountain jungle devouring a deer, and that the man had glowing red eyes. Because he has experienced dreams about the same stranger, Jong-gu is uneasy. Later on in the day, Jong-gu pays the stranger a visit with his companion. The local hunter leads the route for them. Abruptly, it begins to rain, and the hunter abandons them on their own. He gets struck by lightning as he is trying to flee. He is brought to the hospital by Jong-gu and his partner. A patient in the hospital begins acting aggressively due to the infection. Similar rashes are visible on Jong-gu's body as well. Soon after, the patient passes away, bleeding from the mouth. Hyo-jin, Jong-gu's daughter, becomes ill that night and begins to cry while she sleeps. She sobs as she talks about a terrifying dream she had about an unfamiliar man. The next day, Hyo-jin's mother worries that something is wrong with Jong-gu. She walks off to find him, telling him she would summon a shaman. Next, Jong-gu meets his partner, who is bringing along a Japanese-speaking deacon. They quickly head out into the mountains to locate the Japanese man. When they get to his residence, the man isn't there. After that, they look around the house. Candles are lit in the room when Jong-gu breaks in. It appears as though there was a ritual performed there. In the meantime, his partner discovers, concealed in the cupboard, pictures of every sick person. Unexpectedly, the house's guard dog attacks the deacon. Pulling him, Jong-gu shields him. After escaping, the dog bites both of them. The dog is attacking them really hard, so they retreat inside the home and block the entrance. The Japanese man shows up soon after and soothes the dog. After asking the Japanese man for forgiveness, the deacon and the three depart from the residence. Jong-gu questions his companion about what he observed in the house while they are traveling back. He informs him about the images of every sick person living in his home. Additionally, he informs him that the odd man possessed some of the sick individual's possessions. Then he gives Jong-gu a shoe he discovered within the home. His daughter owns it. Is Hyojin missing a shoe lately? Jong-gu asks her on his way home. Asking if she had met a Japanese man, he shows her the shoe that his companion had discovered. She gives a nod. What did she do when she first met him? He asks her. Shouting that nothing major is happening, she walks away. Unusual doodles in his daughter's notebook are discovered by Jong-gu that evening. As he looks after her, he finds rashes all over her body. With a start, Hyojin yells at him upon waking. Her health deteriorates and she begins to exhibit infection signs. The deacon is confronted by Jong-gu the following morning, who is furious, and they proceed to the Japanese man's residence. When Jong-gu inspects the house, he discovers that the possessions and pictures have been burned. The man is questioned by him regarding the earlier items and pictures. He tells them that he burned them after initially refusing to acknowledge it. Concerning what he did with his daughter, Jong-gu questions the old man's motives and issues a threat. He begs him to quietly depart the village. He orders the stranger to leave the community in 3 days after becoming enraged and destroying the stranger's ritual room and killing the dog when it attacks him. The dead dog is discovered hanging in front of Jong-gu's mother's house the following day. She phones him while sobbing. His body is weak from his altercation with the dog the other day, so he is unable to get up. They discover Hyojin suddenly covered in blood. She gave a woman a knife. The police show up at Jong-gu's house shortly after. Concerned about Hyojin's state, Jong-gu's mother summons Il-gwang, a shaman, to see to her. He claims that the weird man is the strongest ghost he has ever seen, not a real person. All around the community, a great number of people pass away. The Japanese man conducts his rituals in his home the following day, coinciding with Il-gwang's ritual to drive out the demon. Il-gwang sacrifices hens, jumps and dances over the fire, and carries out his rites. Both Hyojin and the odd Japanese man begin to scream in pain as he stabs the effigy, eventually passing out. The Japanese man drags himself out of the house with trouble. When Jong-gu notices that his daughter is in pain, he breaks up the rite and brings her to the hospital. As soon as the rite ends, the Japanese man, meantime, becomes conscious again. The deacon advises Jong-gu to see the pastor that evening. When the two travel to the church, the pastor advises Jong-gu to trust the physicians instead of the ghost's tale. The Japanese man leaves the next day. Convinced that the Japanese stranger is the cause of the sickness and the killings, Jong-gu rallies his comrade to pursue the stranger. They get their weapons and make their way to his house. When they get to his residence, they look everywhere for him but are unable to locate him. An sick man attacks Jong-gu and his companions out of the blue. Everyone battles against him. The deacon screams in agony as the sick person bites off a piece of his face. They used a spade and crowbar to strike him. His bones suddenly begin to fracture on their own, and he collapses to the ground. From the trees, one of Jong-gu's companions notices the stranger, a Japanese man, staring at them. They all pursue him, running through the jungle after him. The man runs away from them, gasping for air. He is hurt when he stumbles. Jong-gu and his companions unexpectedly come to a stop on a precipice. Weeping, Jong-gu declares that he must track down the Japanese man and protect his daughter from him. The man from Japan is unable to hang on to the cliff for very long. When he hits the ground, Jong-gu's friends don't see him but they hear a noise. The man from Japan whimpers in agony. After driving back, Jong-gu and his friends are unable to locate the weird man in the woods. As it begins to rain, the automobile skids on the road and they almost run over an oncoming truck. With a head wound, Jong-gu exits their car. He notices the Japanese man on the pavement. It dawns on him that he struck him with the car. Moo Myung observes from the hill as Jong-gu and his buddies push the dead body off the cliff. Then, Jong-gu goes back to the hospital right away to see his daughter. It appears that her condition has improved. They both cry as he gives her a hug and asks if she's okay. Suspecting that they killed the incorrect person, Il-gwang tries to get in touch with Jong-gu but he doesn't respond. Jong-gu's partner becomes infected that evening and murders his wife. the shaman encounters Mu Myung his route to Jonggu's house. He throws up and starts bleeding profusely from his mouth. He flees her and heads home, where he initiates a ritual of protection. A bird suddenly appears in his home and perishes. Guang makes his way to Jonggu's. While driving, he has hailstorm hallucinations. When he exits his vehicle, nothing is there. He calls Jonggu right away after taking a deep breath to let him know that Mu Myung is the true monster. When Jonggu goes looking for his daughter, she is nowhere to be found in her bed. Then, Mu Myung is discovered close to his home. Confronting her for being the ghost, Jonggu demands that she return his daughter. However, she maintains that she was possessed by the ghost of the unfamiliar Japanese man. She asks Jonggu to have faith in her. She also informs him that if Jonggu returns to the house, the trap she laid for the demon will not be effective. When Jonggu wonders who she is, she tells him that she is attempting to keep his daughter alive. After a while, Hyoin goes back home, walks in alone, and begins to eat a large meal. The deacon searches for the Japanese man in the meantime. When he arrives in a cave, he sees the stranger from Japan who is still alive and going about his rituals. "Is this man from Japan a demon?" asks the deacon. Soon after, Jonggu receives a call from Guang warning him not to trust Mu Myung, and she responds by telling him Guang is really working with the genuine demon. If the strange man is not the devil, the deacon asks him to identify himself. Jonggu asks Mu Myung, in the meantime, why this is all occurring. The father of the daughter sinned and even tried to kill, she informs him incoherently. Desperate, Jonggu rushes to the house to save his family. Abruptly grabbing him and demanding that he stay, Mu Myung yells and her body gradually goes white. The floral trap fades to nothing when Jonggu crosses the threshold and enters the house. His wife is dead, and he discovers blood all throughout the house while sobbing. All of a sudden, a blood-covered Hyoin stands in front of him. The strange Japanese man in the cave progressively transforms into a crippled demon with crimson eyes after taking a picture of the deacon. Jonggu is stabbed by his daughter back at the house. Mu Myung is sitting outside the home. Guang drives up to Jonggu's house and it begins to rain. He goes inside and takes pictures of all the deceased Jonggu family members. He drops a package containing pictures of all the other victims infected with the virus by mistake as he makes his way back to his car. As Jonggu lies dying in his house at the end of the film, he recalls better moments spent with his daughter and promises to keep her safe. We really hope you enjoyed today's recap of The Wailing. Please leave a comment below of what you loved about the movie and why. Be sure to like the video and please don't forget to support our channel by subscribing so you don't miss any amazing content. Until next time, lights, camera, action. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.